Have you ever just looked at a giant skyscraper, or maybe an ancient temple, or hey, even just the roof over your own head and thought, how? How is all of this staying up? Well, it might seem like magic, but it's not. It's actually physics and some really brilliant engineering. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on 4 ancient construction secrets that are, believe it or not, still holding up our entire world.
No, I mean, really think about it. How did people thousands of years ago, with absolutely none of our modern tech, build things so magnificent that they're still around today? And maybe even crazier, how are we using those exact same ideas to build the massive bridges and buildings of our own time?
You know, the incredible thing is, the answer really just boils down to 4 fundamental principles. That's it. Just 4 core ideas that have been the foundation of building for literally millennia. And once you learn to see them, I promise, you're going to start seeing them absolutely everywhere. So you ready? Let's unlock the first one.
All right, first up, we have the absolute original, the OG of construction, the post and lintel. This is the one you've actually known your whole life, even if you didn't have a name for it, because it is, by far, the simplest and most intuitive way to build anything. It's really as simple as it sounds. You've got 2 vertical pieces, those are the posts, and then you lay 1 horizontal piece, that's the lintel, right across the top of them. Gravity pushes down on that lintel, and the 2 posts push right back up, and boom, you've got a stable, open space. The easiest way to remember this? Just think of a simple doorway. Seriously, the sides are the posts, and that piece across the top is the lintel. It's probably the very first building principle we all learn as kids playing with blocks, right? It's simple, it's effective, and it is totally foundational.
And hey, don't let that simplicity fool you. This basic method was used to create some of the most iconic structures in all of history. You know those mysterious giant stones of Stonehenge? Yep, that's post and lintel. And the absolutely majestic columns of Greek temples like the Parthenon? That's just post and lintel on a truly epic scale.
But the post and lintel system has one really big limitation. That horizontal beam, the lintel, can only be so long before it just cracks under its own weight. So to build bigger, to span wider gaps, we needed a serious upgrade. And that's where the genius of the arch comes in. Now, the absolute genius of the arch is how it deals with gravity. See, instead of fighting it head-on like a lintel does, the arch's curved shape cleverly redirects all that downward force. It pushes the weight out and down along its curve, safely into the supporting walls or right into the ground. It's brilliant. And check this out. If you take that amazing 2D shape, the arch, and you just kind of stretch it out into a 3D space, you get what's called a vault, you know, like a tunnel. This lets you create these incredibly strong and spacious covered areas. So who were the masters of the arch? Oh, the Romans for sure. Their incredible aqueducts, which carried water for miles and miles, are just this perfect testament to the strength and the durability of the arch. They're basically just a long chain of arches marching across the landscape, and so many of them are still standing 2,000 years later, it's just wild. Okay, so let's just quickly put them side by side. Post and lintel is super simple to build, but you can only make your openings so wide. The arch, on the other hand, is definitely more complex to construct. You gotta get that geometry just right, but because it diverts weight so well, you can create much, much wider spans. This was a total game changer for architecture. All right, let's move on to our third principle, which actually covers a couple of related ideas, the corbel and the cantilever. We're going to start with the really ancient technique of corbelling, which is this super clever way to create an arch-like shape without all the complex physics of a true Roman arch. Okay, think of it like this. You're just stacking flat stones. On each side of an opening, you lay down a new layer of stones that sticks out just a little tiny bit further, a slight overhang, than the one right below it. You just keep doing that on both sides, layer by layer, until they eventually meet at the very top, creating this cool, pointed arch shape. And people use this technique to create some incredible things like those ancient beehive huts in Ireland and those really distinct steep arches you see in Mayan temples. It's a beautiful and, a surprisingly stable way to close a space, just one careful stone at a time. And that brings us to our fourth and final principle. This one is a real titan of modern construction, and it relies on the simple power of one of geometry's absolutely strongest shapes. I'm talking, of course, about the truss. So why triangles? Well, because a triangle is an incredibly rigid shape. Think about it.
If you push on the side of a square, it can easily squish and collapse into a diamond shape, right? But a triangle? No way. It holds its form under both pushing and pulling forces, distributing them perfectly. A truss is basically just a whole web of these super strong triangles all working together.
You want to picture this easily? Just look up inside an attic, or maybe at a building that's under construction. You see that whole network of wooden or steel beams that form a series of triangles holding up the roof? Yeah, that's a truss.
And this is a principle we rely on constantly today. It's what gives our modern roofs their strength over these huge, wide spans without needing a forest of columns inside. It's also the backbone of countless railway bridges and those massive stadium roofs. It creates incredible strength with surprisingly lightweight materials.
Okay, so we've covered the big four: post and lintel, the arch, the corbel, and the truss. But this isn't just some ancient history lesson, right? Let's bring this all right into your world, right now.
Because once you know what to look for, you start to realize these fundamental ideas are like the hidden scaffolding of the entire world around you. They're in your house, they're in your office, they're in the bridges and tunnels you use every single day. And this right here, this sums it all up. That super simple post and lintel, that's your door frame and your window frames. The mighty arch and vault, that's what's holding up the highway overpass you drive under. That old Corbelling idea of overhangs, well, its modern form is the cantilever. That's a beam supported at only one end, and it's what holds up balconies and stadium roofs. And the truss? It is literally the roof over your head.
So the next time you walk through a doorway or drive under a bridge or even just look up at your ceiling, just take a second. You now know the ancient secret that's holding it all together. The only question left is, what else you're going to notice?